Hi everyone. Today I want to talk about the problem related to homelessness that I was seeing in some recent videos online across different nations, not just something that I've observed in India, but also something that I've observed outside of India in many other countries. And from the videos that I've seen about the homeless, as well as some personal spiritual experiences that were leading me to contemplate a little bit more deeply about the homeless. I felt that one of the major problems related to homelessness is that many of the governmental systems are overburdened when there is a massive job loss happening or when inflation has happened in certain areas. So at that time, the government systems are not ramped up enough to help with the homeless population situation. The second problem is because many homeless people, when they do end up having some housing or some place to live temporarily via the government assistance, one place that I had seen when I used to live in Utah was so dark and dank that I felt most of these homeless population, and also from the comments of some of the homeless people, I came to the same conclusion as they had come to the same conclusion, that the darkness and dankness of some of these places can end up causing mold problems and other health impacting problems in these housings that are provided to the homeless. That's why it's important, and this uh, proper housing is a problem globally actually, because people, us humans have got a little bit misaligned with nature. That's why we don't understand when a housing is good quality housing, when a housing is not good quality housing. Very few rare constructions in India or even in US. I have lived in multiple places when I was living there, and when I have lived in India, I used to visit multiple places because of my family staying in different cities or villages of India. So, as a result, if not family, I visited a few friends as well. So, I've seen the different kinds of housing. Sometimes people share their housing photos, all of which has led me to think that people have actually uh, gone out of touch with what kind of housing would be quality housing for people to live if we don't have good sunlight. Like this house where I'm living, even though it's the daytime and it's the afternoon time, not enough sunlight penetrates this bedroom in the daytime. And I'm okay with less sunlight sometimes during some hours of the day, but sometimes I crave the sunlight when I'm working on something, when I'm painting something, when I'm knitting, stitching, doing some work which needs light. Without light, it is difficult to survive. It's not just a essential, sunlight is not just a essential thing for plants, but it's also an essential thing for all humans. Likewise, plants need air, water, good clean earth, and nutrition from earth. Same way humans also need that. That's why when homeless are just given a housing but not the correct nutrition, many homeless also end up having injuries while they are on the street, or even if they're given some odd job to do, if they don't get the right nutritious food, they don't have the good quality bone health, muscle health to do the work. Same thing is true with India's migrant population as well. They also don't have good quality food to have the right muscle strength to do many of the work that they do sometimes when they are doing some back breaking work. And all of this essentially, if you are someone who's hiring a homeless person or who's hiring a migrant poor worker for a job, if you don't feed them right, if you don't give them good quality housing, you're essentially supporting a modern form of slavery. That's why it's important that anyone who wants to solve the problem of the poor, who wants to solve the problem of the homeless, who wants to solve the problems related to migrant workers has to start thinking not from just the business financial sense of how much profit their businesses are making, or when they are doing some farming activities and they are hiring laborers. People have to think beyond simply just hiring people for financial benefit, because finance, what I'm learning about finance and meaning what I feel about abundance in general is this: that abundance, true abundance, is that which isn't simply about earning money or accumulating wealth or accumulating a lot of properties or all of the above, but true abundance means whatever wealth you have accumulated in financial and material sense, you also develop the capacity to share and distribute it in the right ways with the people dependent on you for work, dependent on you for food, or whatever else they are dependent on. And everything can't be done by a government if large number of people are in distress. When large number of people are in distress, everyone who are not in distress have to contribute in some way. No one has to contribute in great amounts. Even if you, like when I see these online videos of people who want to help the homeless population by giving them some food, giving them some housing to stay temporarily for a few weeks so that they can get clean and get a cleaner job, that is the first step of the process. But now people who are also doing these kind of work, maybe they need to start, and if they are working in nearby close by areas, they should likely start thinking about collectively doing something, collectively collecting the money, like via GoFundMe or any other way in which they can collect the money for helping these homeless people. But because homelessness doesn't simply arise if you don't, homelessness can arise from multiple reasons. It can arise when you're living paycheck to paycheck. It can arise when after living paycheck to paycheck suddenly you became sick, or someone in your family became sick and ill, and then you lost your job, or you were so grief stricken out of your sickness or someone else's sickness that you couldn't continue your job for a long term, and you lost your payments, that you couldn't make the payments for your housing. Or it could be that you had so much debt from many things that you kept putting on your card, and eventually your card debt was higher than what you can pay for from your current paycheck. So it's high time that anyone who is not yet homeless but knows that they're living paycheck to paycheck for and have been living for a long time, they should start thinking, maybe rethinking whether they should start existing in a joint community and living as roommates with someone. Because this is something I have learned when I was a student, and I was also living kind of paycheck to paycheck, you can say. It wasn't as poor a salary, but whatever paycheck to paycheck like salary I had when I was a graduate student in US, at the time many graduate students would live, 2 3 people would share an apartment, so that brings down the cost. If you are homeless also, and one of you were homeless for a while and you have made some homeless friends, why not think about taking a house and living jointly together in a house, a cleaner house with which may have a garden, which may have a enough sunlight and enough place for you to do something meaningful. Like if you can caretake an animal while you're homeless, you're also capable of caretaking possibly a plant, and doing some gardening and farming activity, and learning better things about your own health and nutrition. And all of you, if there are like 4 5 people who were homeless in the same area, if you were looking after each other while you were homeless, you can very well become each other's family, second family, and start finding a place where you can live jointly. Another problem with homelessness is it arises more in expensive cities of the world. So if you are in a really expensive city of US or a really expensive city in Europe, instead of living in that expensive city, why not find work in a less expensive city? And I know it's hard to leave your family if your family lives nearby. It's hard to leave your friends if your friends live nearby. It can also be hard to just leave the comfort zone of a particular place if you're familiar with it. But if you have enough people who are homeless together with you, and you have made some good friendships and companionships, maybe as a group you can move to a new city and try to uh, get a housing there where it might be cheaper, get into the social security systems there. Or even the governments of bigger cities might want to collaborate with governments of relatively smaller cities or villages or towns, where people have started, less population is there in those places. You can try to migrate some of your population and work collectively as government systems to help look into this problem. Same way in India also, if I have found like there are so many orphanages or um, elderly homes that are looking for funding. But when I went to the orphanages or went to the elderly homes, I also found that uh, they had a potential to help themselves, because some of the elderly and some of the children were quite healthy. Because in India, right now, at least the places that I have visited, these people didn't seem as destitute as the homeless on the streets are, or the poor who live in the slums are, because people do donate occasionally to orphanages and old age homes and other facilities like that, which have been non-profit organizations. Now, those non-profit organizations who are getting enough funding, for them the next step would be to rethink whether you can become self-sufficient in certain ways related to food, because sometimes if you are in an area where enough land is there, you can start growing your own food there, and you will get a healthier quality food. Then you don't have to rely on donations for food during the times when you don't have enough funding. You can become self-sustaining if there is an orphanage and old age home working jointly together, or like nearby to each other. Then the children can be caretaken by the elderly, and they can both benefit each other, because elderly also, they are usually lonely, and that they are homeless because they were homeless because they didn't have enough close family. Same way with these children, and everyone needs close bonding filled love in their lives. So if you are in a old age home and orphanages, or if you're operating a old age home and an orphanage in two separate parts of a city, then maybe those organizations can start rethinking about operating them together to create a new kind of family system with the non-profits. So these are just some of the ideas I got. If anyone wants to work on these ideas, or has the funds and has been thinking about doing something meaningful with their life, and is just short of how to execute them or go about planning them, I'm great with ideas, I'm not great with execution. So, if anyone wants further ideas like this, or if you already have an idea, I can tell you how better to formulate it, because that's kind of like, I'm an operational person. So, operationally, I can help you in directing the flow in a right way. And I'm also very natural family life and natural earthly life oriented person as well. So that's why I want people to, who wants to do something new in life, or who's thinking to help the homeless or the migrant workers. People need to start rethinking how to create a new kind of family when they don't have families, how to create a new system of helping people, where people can live jointly as cohesive units, structured like a family, but even though they might not really be families, because it helps in creating the warmth and prevents the disconnection that many people who are orphans or live in orphanages or who are homeless or feel in their lives when they have reached a certain age, when they don't have enough close family to help them feel this social connection with other humans. So again, if you have any other questions or comments, I would be happy to even hear comments from other people who might be thinking about these topics, and drop a comment. Thank you.